morning. Today is Tuesday, June 10th, 2014, and this is Before the First Cup with Zori and Lady Pitbull. Good morning, lady.
Hi, how are you?
Getting warm. It's already getting hot here. It's supposed to be 108 today, and it's probably 93 right now.
Oh, my God. 108? Oh, my God. Dude, that's going to... How long has it been like that?
Well, yesterday was 106.
Jeez.
Before that, we were in the 90s. So, guess where I'm going this weekend?
Probably to
Up
a
to
pool.
the lake.
Yeah, pool, lake.
Right.
Man, that's crazy. That doesn't help the drought at all, does it?
No, it doesn't, and that's sad and that's typical weather for us. I mean, 112 for weeks on end isn't unusual for here. And people think because we're up north and like towards the mountains that it doesn't get hot here. It gets hotter here than down south sometimes, quite often, really.
Wow, that's surprising to me. I mean, that's kind of shocking, actually. I had no idea.
Oh, realtors tell people here, if you want to sell your property, you do it in the spring or in the fall, but you do not try and sell your property in the summer because people come up in the spring and it's beautiful. Green, the weather's perfect, everything is just awesome. But then comes summer and people come up here and they just want to melt into their seats, and it's pretty miserable for someone who's not used to it.
So I guess your electric bills must be like sky high with the air conditioner, right? Or don't you guys use that?
Most people here use swamp coolers.
Okay.
That's what we have, and it doesn't affect our bill very much.
Like they do in Arizona, right? They have those in Arizona.
Yeah, you run water through it, and then if you're smart, I mean, it can get real humid, and like most of us, we hate humidity. You leave a couple windows open. That keeps the air circulating, and therefore, it doesn't get all humid inside.
That's
so it's comfortable.
Not bad at all.
Except when you go outside.
If those things take water, though, when you've got a water shortage, then you're in trouble.
But it takes very little water.
Oh, all right.
Because there's cooler pads all around it, and they stay wet with just a trickle of water going over them.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, it is. I mean, compared someone with central air, they would be paying probably $300-400 power bill.
Yeah.
Our power bill runs us about $60.
Gee, that's
big
really
difference, huh?
Big time. I hate central air. I've got central air and I don't use it. If it goes up past like 98 here, then I'm turning the air on. But other than that, I got the windows wide open and the fans in the windows, and because I can't deal with central air. It's just, I don't know, I can't deal with it.
Yeah, I don't mind a swamp cooler. Central air, it's so expensive for one thing. But we run our cooler all day from early morning, it's on already, until like midnight, and then we shut it off. But in about a month or 3 weeks or so, we'll be leaving it on 24/7.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet that doesn't. What's the record high?
Oh, about 5 years ago? No, it's longer than that. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we were the hottest place on the planet.
Really?
Other than the where is the Siberian desert? Is that where they send you to Siberia? Yeah. Other than there, and we were 128.
128. Yeah, they send you to Siberia is cold, not hot.
Well, wherever they send you, Death Valley. We were hotter than Death Valley.
Oh, 108, huh?
No, 128.
Oh, 120. Holy crap.
Yeah, for 2 days.
Wow. I bet you those swamp coolers didn't do a damn thing with that kind of heat.
I remember that day I went to the lake. Whenever it gets too hot, I just say, forget it. I'm not going to be miserable, and I head out to the lake because it's only like, a half hour away at the most.
Wow, that's amazing. 128. I can't even imagine what that feels like.
And you can't even go down to the river, which is only 10 minutes away, and cool off because you jump in that water and hypothermia takes over immediately.
Oh my God!
They keep it so cold.
Wow, that's crazy. So it's not even refreshing to go into the water, huh?
Well, you don't want, I don't know if nobody swims in the Sacramento River here. Now, when you get down to Chico, which is 100 and something miles away, it's not as cold. But they keep it cold for the salmon.
Right.
Yeah, the river is always up. It is never down. It's up, right up to the mark where it's supposed to be always.
Wow.
Keep letting that cold water out from the lake.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it doesn't get that hot here, man. Wow.
Oh, and the humidity, if it got that hot, you would die, I think.
Yeah.
Really.
Jeez. Crazy.
Yeah. Tempers tend to fly.
Oh, well, yeah.
When people get real hot, just like back there, I would think temperatures would fly even worse back there because humidity seems to irritate you more.
Yeah, well, especially in, like, Detroit, man, or Chicago, or New York, or something like that.
Yeah, stay away from town.
Yeah, man, people get very irritable.
People get weird around here, like on a full moon when it's real hot, and it's like 90 all night long. In the 90s, you can't sleep, so people are restless and people are out, and yeah, it can get kind of funny.
Yeah, big time. I can imagine that. All right, so let's see. This is something
shootings today, right?
Yeah, I really, really wanted to cover this. So, maybe I should build up to this. One of the things, is an update on that guy in San Francisco that had they put an all points bulletin out for him. The FBI did, and said that he was running around with potential bombs and stuff, and then they couldn't find him, and then all of a sudden he turned himself in or whatever. So I've got an update on that. Let's see. Federal court documents link Carmichael man to San Francisco bomb toxin case. Okay, so this is weird. The Carmichael man, arrested last month on weapons and explosive charges, was involved in a shadowy nationwide network that uses encrypted websites, code names, and payments in bitcoins to ship deadly poisons to buyers, according to federal court documents. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's real interesting. James Christopher Malcolm, 29, was arrested on May 5th and faces arraignment Thursday in Sacramento on weapons and explosives charges. But the federal court documents unsealed in San Francisco late Friday tie Malcolm to the Bay Area investigation of former political consultant Ryan Chamberlain II, who was arrested last week after the FBI suspected he possessed a homemade explosive device, an improvised explosive device, an IED. Documents indicate Malcolm shipped samples of a lethal toxins to Chamberlain's Polk Street apartment on December 5th that, quote, would be enough to constitute, conservatively, hundreds of lethal doses of the toxin if metabolized in the human body. Malcolm told FBI agents that he shipped the poison to a, quote, Ryan Kelly, unquote, from a UPS store in Vacaville after negotiating online with a buyer who indicated he was seeking the material to ease the suffering of cancer patients. What?
This sounds phony as hell.
I know!
And then they did it with Bitcoin, they said?
Yeah, so it's quote-unquote not traceable. Yeah, bullshit. This is I am so sick. Alright, so this is load of bunk day, people.
Right. They gotta get... I almost every story I read, I can see behind it the manipulation, the propaganda, and the way they're connecting all these names and Bitcoins and fundies and all of it, everything. Yeah. It just keeps going at it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Malcolm is not named in the documents unsealed Friday, but it is referred to as Witness 2 and describes the Sacramento man arrested on May 5th on 4 firearms and explosives charges, details that did not match the Malcolm case. Malcolm's assistant federal defender, Benjamin Galabay, confirmed Saturday that his client is the subject described in the court documents, but denied an assertion that the documents that Malcolm has agreed to enter a plea in federal court to a violation of federal law prohibiting possession of biological weapons. What? That is untrue, Galloway said of the possible plea. I spoke to the prosecutor, and he said he was also surprised to see that. So, okay, they're pulling another freaking plea deal out of their asses over there. The arrests stem from a joint investigation by the FBI and the Homeland Security agents and the Bureau ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives, that began in April 2013 and focused on a website known as, quote, Black Market Reloaded, unquote, or BMR, according to an FBI affidavit in support of a search warrant for Chamberlain, San Francisco apartment. Jeez. The basic user interference of BMR resembles those of other well-known online marketplaces such as eBay and Amazon. The affidavit.
Ah, jeez.
Notice how they're not mentioning Silk Road in here.
Not yet, at least.
Right, not yet. Exactly. However, the site is accessible only through a network known as Tor, T-O-R, that is designed to conceal the Internet Protocol address of computers using it, the affidavit states, adding that such networks are also known as darknets or the deep web, which they want to 86 from existence. The BMR site uses bitcoins as its primary form of payment, allowing anonymity to customers, the affidavit states, and a tip that came into authorities in February prompted the investigation that led to the probe of BMR and its users, of course. That tip came from a New York resident identified as Witness 1.
Snitch.
Snitch 1. Yeah, Snitch 1. Alright, who told New York City police that he purchased the poison cyanide and Abrin on the BMR site as part of an attempt at suicide, the affidavit states. Give me a... Okay, so let me get this straight. This guy bought some cyanide off this web, right? And he was going to use it to kill himself, but he decided not to kill himself, and he went and told the cops what he did, and
he shipped it to somebody, didn't he?
No, no. Witness 1. That's what Witness 1 told the cops.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's a bunch of freaking BS, if you ask me. I mean, come on. You're gonna try to commit suicide with cyanide, and then you're gonna go tell the cops what you did? Oh, guess what? I
tried to kill myself.
Oh, give me a break.
Come on.
I mean, this is bullshit. Okay. The witness showed up at the NYPD's 49th district with a vial of white powder that later tested positive as cyanide, the affidavit states. The witnesses told officers he had destroyed the Abrin, a poison extracted from the seeds of the rosary pea plant, the affidavit states. That's hilarious, man. I'm laughing my ass off here. Investigators following that lead found the poisons had been shipped on December 5th, 2013 to New York from a Vacaville UPS store. Vacaville, thank you. Yeah. Vacaville UPS store, the court documents state. Records at the store indicated that the same person who mailed the poisons to the New York customer also shipped a package to a Ryan Kelly at Chamberlain's address. The court documents say. What else do the court documents say? Federal investigators then tied both shipments to a BMR vendor who advertised the production, testing, and sale of biological toxins, improvised explosives, and firearms via BMR. The affidavit states, adding, the investigators determined that the vendor was Witness 2 or Malcolm. What the hell? Malcolm was arrested May 5th after a 2-month undercover investigation. Agents rushed their decision to move in after they feared they had discovered a GPS tracking device they had placed on his, his 2007 Chevy Trailblazer. The court documents indicate. Agents cited dangers to the public and neighbors in the area of his Garfield Avenue home and storage lockers he rented. He has been held at the Sacramento County Jail since then without bail, and was indicted by a federal grand jury on Thursday on 4 counts of suspicion of illegally possessing a machine gun and selling weapons and explosives. Oh, I bet you the bat faggots were rolling around in there, having a good old heyday time. The FBI affidavit filed in San Francisco said that seized items from Malcolm after his arrest tested positive for Abrin, and that Malcolm told investigators he used the BMR site to sell biological toxins, improvised explosives, and firearms to purchasers throughout the United States. Oh, really? I don't know, man. I don't know. Something smells really bad here. He also admitted to shipping the packages to a customer in New York to Ryan Kelly in San Francisco. And the affidavit says, Malcolm told investigators the San Francisco shipment was made after he was contacted by a buyer who wanted information on Abram to help ease cancer patients suffering, the court documents say it. They just said that. They stated that twice in this article now. He told investigators the buyer's statements about helping cancer patients concerned him that instead of shipping pure Abram, he sent 2 clear vials of ground rosary peas, which were ground finely enough to become aerosolized? What? The vials were loaded into 2 small Harbor Freight flashlights that had their batteries removed, then placed them in a manila envelope with bubble wrap inside. The court documents say the shipment arrived December 6th, but sometime after that, the San Francisco buyer complained to Malcolm via BitMail. Has anybody ever heard of BitMail before?
No.
I've never heard of BitMail. What the hell's kind of going on here? A secure mail service that uses random strings of numbers instead of names. That the Abram didn't work, the affidavit states. The investigation into the BMR site led to the January 18th arrest of a Florida man identified as Witness 3. Yeah, right. That the individual later told investigators that his first customer on the BMR site was named Ryan Kelly. Chamberlain was arrested near Crissy Field last Monday after the FBI announced a nationwide manhunt for him and is in custody in San Francisco pending a June 16th hearing. At a hearing Friday, U.S. Magistrate Judge Nathaniel Cousins ordered a mental assessment on Chamberlain.
Okay, so he said it didn't work. So does that mean he tried it on somebody, I wonder? How else would he know it wasn't working?
No, he was pissed off that the other guy sent the raw form of this Abram, which was I'm just trying to look for
But I mean, he said it didn't work. So
brown rosary peas.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the guy was mad because he sent the raw form of the ground rosary. He just sent the ground rosary peas, and
Okay, instead of like liquid form or powder.
Right,
Okay.
which were ground finely enough to become aerosolized, which is just okay. That doesn't make sense to me at all. So, how in the hell would something become aerosolized if you just ground it up with a mortar and a pestle? It makes no freaking sense to me whatsoever. It's weird, man.
A lot of this story don't make no sense.
I know, it's just
like we're in a hurry and put it together.
Yeah, kind of like, that's typical of the FBI. This is exactly what they do. They hurry up and they just throw together whatever the hell. I bet you that this guy, well, they're saying this guy took a plea deal now, so really it's not gonna go to court. And I've never heard of BMR and biological toxins. I mean, really, who in the hell would want to, I don't know, who the hell would want to buy this crap? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I can't see them allowing the site to even be up, for that matter.
Well, they did it through what? They did it through,
what, the dark side of the net?
The deep web, and they did it with Bitcoin, so I don't know. The whole thing just sounds kind of shaky to me.
Hector says Bitmail is like a version of Bitcoin, I guess, that they, they're supposed to, like Tor probably, that you're not supposed to be able to be detected.
Right.
But I never heard of it.
Oh man, I can guarantee you that these bastards hate that Tor sites.
Well, I hear it's been compromised too, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so the feds got a tip or whatever from witness number 1 or number 2, snitch number 1, and then they went into the site and were able to flush these guys out. I mean, how private is that? It's not very private if they could flush these guys right out of the woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some way to be able to, that these guys can be able to track and trace these,
Oh, they can. I don't think there's anything that's really secure from them, really.
No.
If they really want to get to that, line of information.
Exactly. It's the same crap with the Silk Road, man. They had, I mean, I'm sure when the Silk Road first started, people just go in there and get stuff, you know what I mean? But after...
it would get busted eventually.
Yeah, you had to. I mean, anybody who doesn't know that is a freaking dense moron.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're shipping this kind of crap across the country, I mean, there's a problem with that. I can see why... the feds would be all uptight, but man, all this just seems like...
So they got a snitch in where? Florida? Or
shit, they had one in New York, they had one in Florida, they had one in San Francisco, so...
So this guy was in a whole network of snitches.
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. I mean, because... You're not going to show up to the cops. Let me say this again.
I tried to commit suicide.
Well, he handed he handed them the vial of white powder.
That's insanity.
It just makes no sense whatsoever.
So it's to put fear into the people out there that these things are being shipped and that someone wants to help cancer patients, so he's going to be killing people is what I see.
Right. Yet, the government can just decide that they're going to move a couple of nukes from like Texas to North Carolina arbitrarily on the roads. And they're just gonna ship nukes whenever they damn well feel like it without following protocol. They can do that, but no, you get like some freaking rosary pea, ground rosary peas, and oh my god, the world comes to an end. You know what I mean? It's just insane. I don't know, man. So that was the update to that situation. I figured I'd better go over that real quick.
And then how about the one, there was also a shooting at Santa Cruz?
Oh, I didn't know about the Santa Cruz one. There's a ton of them going on.
I know, in Canada, and where was the other one? Vegas, and then one in San Jose this weekend.
Blood yesterday said that the one in Canada started out as a drill.
Huh?
Yeah, I didn't get the article he was talking about, but that's what he was saying, that it's come out now that the guy that was walking around the streets in Canada with the ARs or whatever, that was part of a drill.
Right, because citizens can't have guns up there.
Well, that's not true.
They have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to have them.
Well, yeah, but I read the Canadian statutes. Actually, I could go back and find that because I never did get to that. Let me go back and find that here. Hang on a minute. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Alright, I have to scroll back here, guys. Yes, Canadians are allowed to possess weapons. I've just got to find the statutes here.
Yeah, but you won't find guns in most Canadian homes.
Well, that's not necessarily true either.
Really?
Yes. I was thinking, shit, there's a lot of hunters up there.
Well, it's been a long time since I've been through Canada too. I mean, I'm saying 10 years ago that we went, that they were just said no guns and blah, blah. Okay. We had to put them in lockers.
I've got it. Okay. In Canada, gun owners must reapply and requalify for their firearm license every 5 years. Limit on the number of guns licensed firearm owners in Canada are permitted to possess any number of firearms. Compare limit on quantity, type of ammunition. Licensed firearm owners in Canada are permitted to possess any quantity of ammunition. And I can read. Let me see. Let me keep going.
Then it's changed since we went through there.
Well, I don't know.
Wow.
This is what the law. I'm actually reading the actual law. In Canada, only licensed gun owners may acquire, possess, or transfer a firearm or ammunition. Compare genuine reason required for firearm possession. Applicants for a gun owner's license in Canada are not required to prove genuine reason to possess a firearm, except when the license concerns prohibited and restricted firearms. Compare minimum age for firearm possession. The minimum age for gun ownership in Canada is 18 years or 12 years with limitations. Compare gun license background checks. An applicant for a firearm license in Canada must pass a background check which considers criminal, mental, addiction, and domestic violence records. So
well, that's the same as here.
It's the same as here. So there you have it.
Well, and that's weird because, Lisa that used to be in chat here, she said they weren't allowed to have guns, and she lives there.
Yeah, well, she obviously hasn't read the law.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they're more lenient than us, just about.
Yeah, exactly. So we gotta be real careful of...
I know the laws might have changed, but because they used to be real strict about guns. I mean, I've been up there a few times, and most people are like Lisa. They think they're not allowed to have guns. That's strange.
Well, just when you think you know something,
yeah, they go and change it on you or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why Jules always tells us that we've got to make sure we check our facts before we're spouting.
Well, I know because we went up to Canada. I've been up to Canada a few times, and they were real stringent, Well,
that's because you were crossing the border.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I even talked to the police there, and because if they allow guns there, then like here, if I'm going to different states or whatever, I find out the laws for each one. But if people because they said no guns were allowed in Canada, and it would seem like you could register them to get through their country and then, back into the United States. But they said absolutely not, which I thought was really strange. But anyway, yeah, so they are allowed to have guns. And they just
Yes.
have to do what we have to do, get background checks and register them.
Right, pretty much.
But they have to re-register every 5 years. That's how it sounds like the only difference.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So there we go, man.
And didn't it say it didn't matter what type of
No, it's
weapon?
unlimited, and it doesn't matter what type. So
Wow, so therefore I bet they don't have to use 7 magazines that hold 7 bullets.
no, they're not messing with stuff like that up there. I'm pretty sure of it. And I was thinking that because like when we were talking about it originally, I'm thinking, shit, man, there's a lot of hunters up there in Canada. I know this for a fact. You know what I mean? So it didn't really jive too well. So anyway, we figured it out. And we
Okay.
aired it, and there we go. So
Then why it wouldn't be unusual. Well, it would be unusual to see someone in camos carrying a gun, but yeah. So it started out as a drill.
well, see, I don't have that article in front of me. I was listening to Jack Blood yesterday, and that's what he said, and I'm just like going, oh my god, it figures it was a drill. So, I probably should have ran and grabbed it, but
Yeah, but he turned. I read that he turned himself in. But if it was a drill, why
did he kill 2 cops? Because sometimes these drills go awry.
Well, wow. I'm going to see if I can find that article. Why don't you go on with what you were going to go to?
Okay, I wish I had brought more of the stuff up. There was also a standoff, I guess, in North Hollywood. I don't know what happened there. I'm typing, sorry. It's difficult to do this. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to read this. This just happened yesterday. Parents and students from the private Oakwood school reunited early Monday afternoon as a suspect armed with an assault rifle was barricaded in his nearby North Hollywood home. Students left the school on holding hands and long chains as officers escorted them in small groups. The students headed toward the park where family members are waiting. As the children appeared, some parents broke into applause. About 2:15, lockdowns were lifted at the last 4 public schools affected by police operations. North Hollywood High, as well as Colfax Fair and Lancashire elementary schools. Earlier, Reed Middle School had been locked down. Let's see, none of the public schools was in session, but there was a staff on the campuses. Okay, so they locked down the staff. About 54 students had been in North Hollywood High picking up diplomas, so they locked them up too. Let's see, so, I guess the suspect surrendered. Let's see. I guess the guy surrendered. High speed. Okay, so no shots were fired, apparently. He just barricaded himself for about 4 hours. Okay, so that's a non-shooting. That's just probably some guy who just, lost his brain for a minute.
Yeah.
But there's the thing with the assault weapons, you know what I mean? They have to start touting that. But there have been more shootings. Lots and lots of shootings this weekend. It just seems like last week into this weekend, there was one that was, and I'm sure everybody's already heard of these things, but I just kind of want to lead it into a certain topic of conversation about it. This one that happened on Friday, let's see, it says, Sovereign Citizens Movement responsible for paper terrorism violence. Okay, this is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I know Jimmy read these articles on his show, and I think we even read it on the Saturday show too, but I kind of wanted to go over it again. Dennis Marks, the shooter who attempted to occupy a Forsyth County courthouse Friday, has been identified by law enforcement officials as a member of the sovereign citizens movement. Marx represents a still small percentage of the anti-government organization that escalates from, quote, paper terrorism, unquote, to acts of violence. So in other words, what that means is, I'm going to break this whole thing down. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to break it all down. Paper terrorism, okay? What that means is, because I know some of these guys that study, you know, Black's Law Dictionary and common law and things of that nature. And what they're talking about with paper terrorism is that they file lots and lots and lots of paperwork to the court system, and they overwhelm the court with paperwork in a way, which is, hey, I think it's a great freaking tactic myself, although I wouldn't know really how to do it. But the mainstream, lamestream media says of, like, the sovereign citizen and, you know, the SPLC, they always say that they don't believe the law applies to them, which is completely not true. Actually, it's the opposite of that, where if they go in through, like, the common law, they follow the letter of the law that's written in these books. The common law books, Black's Law Dictionary, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. They actually take everything almost literally,
right,
in terms of the law, and all they want is for the judicial system to follow those laws as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so what the lamestream media does is they turn it around and they go, oh, well, the law doesn't apply to me. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Right. The charges are supposed to be more serious when done under the badge of, color or whatever it's called.
Right. Well, the judicial system now runs under that color of law, whereas these people, the sovereign people, want the real law to be followed
letter of law.
To the letter. Yes, and they do, boy. They really they'll get in there and scrape the law down to the bare essentials and throw it right back at them, and that's what they cannot stand.
Mm-hmm.
The system can't stand having the law thrown back in their face, and that's why they call it now paper terrorism.
Yeah.
So okay, I went over that. I just know some of these people, that's all. I mean,
I do too, and they are, then when you read these articles about things they're saying the militia does, you think to yourself, wait a minute, that's not what it's all about. So
right. You got it backwards, yeah.
Right.
So, all I want to do is just kind of decipher what's truth and what's not truth here. And that's kind of why I wanted to get into this today. Okay, the article goes on. It says, the group classified by the FBI as a domestic terrorist organization maintains the belief that they are not subject to municipal, state, and federal systems of law, instead following only common law. So that's, there you go, there's the false statement right there. Man, it's just, it pisses me off every time I read this kind of stuff, because I know it's not true. You know what I mean?
I know, and now, whenever they speak of the militia now, they are always saying they are domestic terrorists.
Oh yeah, well absolutely, and now, they're just expanding that definition of domestic terrorism now, and it's really an all-encompassing broad brush here that they're painting everybody with. And
right, especially the shooters, like they try and connect them to Bundy, they try and connect them to the militia, they try and connect them to everything.
I'm going to get to that, all that. And
yeah.
I'm just kind of going kind of snail's pace here so we can just break down what's being said. So we can decipher truth from fiction. Fact from fiction, that's what we're about here on UCY. Okay, members of this group consider the United States government illegitimate and do not believe in paying taxes, needing a valid driver's license, or even the government's right to tell them which laws to follow according to the Southern Poverty Law Center's website. That's all fiction. Absolute fiction. That whole statement. The reason why they don't believe like they need a valid driver's license is because there's no law on the books stating that everybody needs to have a valid. It's just ordinances and policies. So they're saying, why do we have to follow ordinances and policy if it's not an actual law that's written on the books? Is pretty much what that is saying. That. And as far as the driver's license argument goes, they believe that it impedes their free right to travel.
Right, and I've always wondered, like, where's that fine line between an ordinance, a law, which carries the most weight, which,
right.
It's a very foggy line there.
It's a fine line, and it's a blurry line, absolutely. Same shit with the paying taxes. There's no law. We know, those of us listening to this network and hearing the sound of my voice right now, everybody knows that there's no law on the books stating that it's a mandated law that we have to pay taxes. It's voluntary.
On our labor.
It's on our labor. It's a voluntary thing, and
but really, the law states if you participate in this society by having bank account, driver's license, social security card, or any of that, if you don't have any of that, then you're not volunteering. But the way they put it out there is that if you are participating in the society, you voluntarily pay them. So, that's where sovereign citizens come in.
Yeah, that's somewhat accurate. But they're really mostly going by the laws on the books here, and if you're a foreign person, like if you're visiting from another country or have a visa from another country, those are the people that are supposed to be paying the taxes. That's actually stated in the law. That's on the books. And then the rest of us is supposed to be voluntary, and the word voluntary is in the law.
Mm-hmm.
So, it does go on. I mean,
I've read into it a lot because I was trying to go sovereign at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do, there's a lot of paperwork you have to carry with you.
Oh yeah, and you've got to be sharp, and you've got to know all the laws.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what the hell you're doing if you're going to mess around with this.
We've had quite a few people here. In fact, there was this guy that used to give classes on it, and then he got arrested for about no helmet, and then it went on and on. But they used to give classes on how to become a sovereign citizen.
Yes.
And all you had to take with you, what you had to have with you at all times, and how you could educate the law enforcement if they did pull you over.
Right.
And, yeah, there's a lot to it. There is
a lot to it. And you know what? People need to be aware of what laws there are and what's illegitimate and what's,
and the dangers. Because when you tell law enforcement you don't have to have a license and then you try and explain it to them, there's a good chance you're going to end up beat up and in a cell with no clothes on and whatnot. Yeah.
Right, because cops are not they don't understand that there actually is a difference.
Right. They aren't taught that.
No, they're not taught that. All they're taught is that these particular people that start talking about these kind of things are domestic terrorists. That's all they're taught. Okay. The group, the Sovereign Citizen group, has a long-standing list of benefits, of beliefs, okay, including that the U.S. government has enslaved its citizens by backing U.S. currency on the full faith and credit of the government instead of the gold standard. So anybody who believes that the Federal Reserve is illegitimate, then you're a terrorist. Also, the organization is known for its belief in a secret second identity and monetary amount assigned to each citizen at birth, known as a straw man, and that actually exists.
That's true.
Talking about that on Saturday. And if anybody wants to know a quick little
That's why you have to have a birth certificate.
Right. And if anybody wants to know about that with a quick little YouTube lesson, it's a cartoon, it's easy to understand, it's called Meet Your Straw Man on YouTube. So if somebody wants to go into YouTube, dig that up and put it in the chat for me, that'd be sweet.
That's how they say we're leaving the debt to our children because it's going to their straw man.
Right. Exactly. That's accurate. So anybody who believes that there are straw men out there are domestic terrorists. Okay, the organization has a reputation for combating the government. It does not believe in through the use of overwhelming amounts of paperwork, largely fraudulent and amassing to thousands of pages intended to clog the court systems, frequently resulting in financial damage. Oh, there we have it. Just like I said. And I have no problem with that at all because the court systems are... See, the problem with that is that they're saying that all the paperwork that they file are largely fraudulent, which is not true. They're absolutely not fraudulent. In fact, it's the opposite of fraudulent. That's the real law that they file all those things. They file all those papers. They're citing the actual laws that are on the books that the courts aren't following. So it's the actual courts that don't want to deal with all this stuff. They're the ones that are the fraudulent ones. So all this freaking Orwellian doublespeak that these people put in their articles is meant to confuse and distract from the actual reality of the situation. Okay, here goes. For instance, citizens don't believe in a bank's right to own property. So they consider all foreclosed property up for grabs. I don't know about that. I think that's a load of shit. Members use bogus paperwork to occupy government or bank-owned property, leading to numerous racketeering charges in the area and around the country. But that isn't always the end of it. The group, sovereign citizens, which normally functions on a platform of inconveniencing the system, has, in its cases like this morning, been known to commit violent acts, of course, primarily targeted at law enforcement officials, and claim they have no authority when they are feeling desperate. Oh my God. The SPLC reported 7 law enforcement officers have been killed by citizen extremists since 2000, with additional people injured. Oh, wow.
Okay, how many people have cops killed in that same amount of time?
Yeah. Yeah. Sovereign citizens membership is believed to be sharply on the rise as of 2011. An estimated 100,000 fully engrossed members and an additional 200,000 coming into the fold, according to the SPLC. So here you go. This is the bullshit, and it's almost laughable. It's entirely laughable. These people. So now these people have been known to commit violent acts, and Okay. Let me move on. So that's that whole thing. And now this guy, he went to he went to a courthouse in Georgia and got into a shootout with cops, and then apparently he killed himself, or I can't remember if he was shot by them, but these people always end up dead, so that they can't,
tell their story or
their side of the story. Absolutely. So
then the media gets to make up whatever they want.
Then they get to make up just like I just read. So, yeah, we're gonna click off of that one. Okay, now So that happened on Friday. Maybe I should read what that guy did. We can all see where this is going. I mean, it's very obvious. Hang on a second.
They're just building that division, you know, big wall between, if you don't like the government, well, people should be afraid of you.
Exactly. So I'm going to get back to what this guy did. If my computer would ever go there. Come on, little computer. No, I do not want to read CNN. I'm sorry. I cannot deal with them. They freaking suck. All right, we'll see this. Georgia courthouse shooting leaves deputy injured. Suspect is dead. Okay. It's from Reuters here. June 6th, which was Friday, a sheriff's deputy was shot in the leg on Friday at the courthouse in Cumming, Georgia, and the suspect in the incident was dead, the news reported. The deputy's injuries did not appear life-threatening. Reuters could not comment immediately to confirm the details of the incident, blah, blah, blah. The courthouse is about 40 miles northeast of Atlanta, was evacuated and remained closed as police search for possible explosives. Alright, so they found explosives in the guy's house, apparently, and all this other bullshit. So, apparently he was fatally shot by the cops. And we've got, let's see, he was doing, alright, a man wielding an assault rifle, there's that assault rifle thing again. That's what these people keep, you know, they say they keep using assault rifles, and they keep pounding it into the minds of Americans that are easily gullible and easily misled. Assault rifle, bad. Explosives and supplies. Let's see, a man wielding an assault rifle, explosives and supplies to take hostages opened fired outside Georgia courthouse on Friday, wounding a deputy before he was killed in a shootout with officers. Dennis Marks had been due in court Friday morning to plead guilty to a drug case. So here we go with this too. He arrived at the courthouse wearing body armor and in a rented SUV, and both homemade and commercially made explosives, 2 handguns. Where's the assault rifle? Zip ties, water, and other gear. So, okay, let me see. Let me read that again. Dennis Marks had been due in court on Friday. He arrived at the courthouse wearing body armor in a rented SUV and both homemade and commercially made explosives, 2 handguns, zip ties, water, and other. So where in the hell do these freaking assault rifles come into play? You know what I mean? One, the Reuters said it was assault rifles, and now Fox News that I'm reading off of is saying it was 2 handguns. So which is it, people? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is bullshit. It's just, it's horseshit. This is...
They make it up as they go.
They do. They make this shit up. And oh my god, it drives me freaking crazy. Alright. Let's see. He dropped homemade spike strips and used smoke devices in an effort to keep officers from reaching him, said the Forsyth County Sheriff, Dwayne Piper. Authorities were familiar with Marks, who had placed obstacles around his home about 40 miles northeast of Atlanta when officers came to arrest him in the past. So, in other words, he set booby traps up, I guess? I don't know. Bomb squads carefully checked his home in a hilly, wooded neighborhood, fearing he might have set explosive traps around the property, of course. While explosive devices were found inside the home, they were not set to detonate, Piper said. Marks had left his house several days before the attack. That's weird. That doesn't make any sense, does it? The wounded deputy prevented others from getting hurt when he encountered Marks, Piper said. The sheriff's office said in a news release that Marks tried to run over the deputy. The deputy then shot at Marks. When the deputy engaged him outside, it saved lives, Piper said. The entire situation was solved by the deputy's actions. Other deputies heard the gunshots and rushed in to help, leading to a gun battle that lasted about 2 minutes and involved 8 deputies. Piper said it was not clear which one fired the fatal shot, he said. The downtown area around the courthouse remained cordoned off by police tape this evening, Friday evening. Marks has had numerous run-ins with the law, dating to at least 2011. In August of that year, he was arrested on numerous felony charges, including selling marijuana and weapon possession. That same month, authorities filed papers in an effort to seize weapons and money found after an undercover officer bought drugs from Marks. Of course, the undercover guys. Court documents show authorities wanted to seize 24 handguns and rifles, 71 gun magazines and $24,000 worth in cash. The seizure case was put on hold while the criminal charges are pending, and Richard Grossman, who represented Marks in the seizure case, Richard Grossman, who represented Marks in the seizure case. Another attorney representing Marks had negotiated a very favorable plea deal for the man in the criminal case, and Marks had been scheduled to plead guilty on Friday morning. It seems like he was really afraid and did this irrational act, said Grossman. That was his lawyer. Marks had filed a federal civil rights complaint against the Sheriff's Department in 2013, according to court records. The complaint accused the Sheriff's Department of using excessive force and illegal searches. Marks said in the complaint that officers hit him when he was standing with his hands up and used chemical agents to make him believe an explosion or a fire had occurred, and used the extra set of handcuffs that cut off his circulation to his hands. Meanwhile, the wounded deputy, who has been in the department for 25 years, was shot below the knee. He suffered 2 broken bones in his leg and underwent surgery Friday afternoon, expected to make full recovery. The streets of the neighborhood where Mark lived are steep, narrow, and lined with modest homes nestled close together among trees. Neighbor Dorothy Verano said, "It's a calm and peaceful place to live, where neighbors are friendly but don't involve themselves in each other's business," which is how neighborhoods should be. Verano has lived just up the street from Marks, where he has lived for the past 10 years. She said she had a run-in with him 7 or 8 years ago when she was walking her Maltese dog Daisy past his house, and his dog attacked hers. His dog grabbed hers in its jaws, shook the Maltese back and forth. Marks told her his dog wasn't being aggressive, but just trying to play with her dog like a toy. Sure.
Jeez.
That's a little ridiculous. Her dog was badly injured and required expensive treatment, but she was surprised when Marks offered to pay her vet bill. He paid for it and gave her a small electronic device that emits a sound that's supposed to stop an attacking dog, and gave her a box of candy. Oh, well, hey.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he made it right. I mean, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he just said, "Oh, my dog was trying to play with your dog," and that's that. I mean,
right.
He did the right thing there. Still, she had decided long ago that she would steer clear of Marks. I decided he was not a person I was going to cross in any way, because he would probably slash my tires or put something in my gas tank, she said. Well, whatever. I don't know. So that's that. I just wanted to kind of go over that. And of course, these suspects always end up dead in the end. And we know this. And then apparently it was the Southern Poverty Law Center that dug up the sovereign citizens angle to this story, of course, and because what the goal here is, people. Well, here before I get to the goals, because this has got to. Okay, let's see. I want to. Go ahead and say some stuff, Zori. Let me find this.
Okay. What are you gonna go to next?
I'm gonna go to the Vegas shooters.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, this kind of caught my eye. Hillary Clinton says we came out of the White House dead broke. Now this cracks me up because you know what? Clinton goes around making speeches, getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars for just giving lectures at these different places.
Wait. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought you were going to, say so about that last article.
No, I was going to leave that all to you. So, because I don't want to what you got planned on reading. So I was just going to bring this up while you're looking it up.
I already got what I needed.
Okay.
I just needed a little quick couple comments is all. Maybe we'll save that for after because
it wasn't important. It was just something funny.
Oh, I see. All right, well we can save it for after still.
Yeah.
Keep it up there so we can touch on it anyway. All right, so we've got the San Francisco this Las Vegas shooting here that left 2 officers and 3 others dead in the Las Vegas shooting. I know you guys have probably all know the story, blah, 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 blah. All I'm doing is just, I think it's really important that we talk about this. And
isn't it 2 officers and 1 standby dead?
Let's see, 2 officers and 3 others dead.
Dead?
Yes. All right, here it is. Okay. A man and a woman ambushed 2 police officers.
Oh, yeah, the 2. Okay, never mind. I got it. I forgot about the 2 people that were doing the shootings are dead.
Yeah. A man and a woman ambushed 2 police officers eating lunch at a Las Vegas restaurant, fatally shooting them at point-blank range before fleeing to a nearby Walmart where they killed a 3rd person and then themselves in an apparent suicide pact, authorities said on Sunday. So this happened 2 days ago. The shooters walked into a CC's Pizza and gunned down officers Alan Beck, 41, and Igor Soloto, 31, Las Vegas police officials said. One of the officers was able to fire back before he died, but it's unclear. Really? One of the officers was able to fire back before he died, but it's unclear if he hit the suspects. Sheriff Doug Gillespie of the Las Vegas Metro Police Department said in a news conference Sunday afternoon. One of the shooters yelled, "This is a revolution!" But a motive remains under investigation. Las Vegas police spokesman Larry Hatfield told the Associated Press. He added, "We didn't know anything about the suspects yet." All right, so does anybody see anything wrong with that already? I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't make sense to me that 2 people are going to come up behind 2 cops eating their pizza at CC's and shoot them at point-blank range, yet one of the officers was able to discharge a round from his weapon. That does not make sense to me. Another thing that doesn't make sense to me, and I'm going to continue to read here, but from everything that I've read, I'm not hearing any witnesses, such as like the workers from CC's. Like they don't get any interviews from any witnesses that were around or inside the restaurant.
No, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep reading because I haven't seen that yet. So okay. I'm kind of waiting for it. So I'm going to...
Well, it's a clip. And the only thing he said was, he said to tell the police that this was a revolution. That's all he said.
Oh, yeah. See? Yeah, there was that one, he looked like a Mexican or something. We can't play clips, so I'm going to be just reading this here. And yeah, so that's the only, like, quote-unquote witness that witness this? What about the workers at CC's?
Well, they say they're questioning thousands of witnesses right now.
Thousands of witnesses, okay.
But nobody's been put on air yet, as I know.
All right. After shooting the officers, the suspects fled to a Walmart across the street, where they killed a person inside the front door and exchanged gunfire with police before killing themselves. Police said the female suspect shot the male suspect before killing herself. Gillespie said the victim's identity hasn't yet been confirmed, but it has, because this is an article from when it first happened. The suspects' names haven't been released, but they have. I should read a. If you could find a recent article while I'm reading, Zori. Like an up to date.
Here, I have one right here.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'll pass it to you because it gives you all the information.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sending it to your other where it says Wendy. Okay, there. Did that go up?
Let's see. No, it didn't.
Oh, okay.
Send it to the radio one.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, this one is the most recent where it has their name and all this stuff.
Okay.
So here it comes.
Thank you.
Paste.
I'll read that one after this one.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so here we go. All right. It's a tragic day, Gillespie said, but we still have a community to police, and we still have a community to protect. We will be out there doing it with our heads held high and emptiness in our hearts. Both officers were pronounced dead at the University Medical Center. Becken had been with the department since 2001. They leave behind a wife and 3 children. Salato had been on the force since 2006 and survived by a wife and a baby. Now, I think, going into a restaurant and shooting cops is just it's an abhorrent act.
Right. It makes us as bad as them. I mean,
exactly.
It makes us look as bad as them.
Right. Pauline Pacheco was shopping at Walmart when she saw the armed man, and grabbed her father to escape. Here we go. Here's some witnesses. We saw the man. We saw when the man was walking, he was shooting, yelling bad words, and suddenly he had a gun. She told the police. She told the station, "It was terrible. It was terrible. That man was crazy." That's the only eyewitness account so far. Assistant Sheriff Kevin McCahill said the male suspect yelled, "Everyone get out," before shooting at Walmart. That's what it says. The suspects then walked into the back of the store. Government Brian Sandoval said in a statement he was devastated by the murders of the 2 officers and an innocent bystander in an act of senseless violence. In a statement, the Las Vegas mayor, Carolyn Goodman, called the killings a cruel act and praised the officers for dedicating their lives to protecting all of us in our community. Walmart employees and shoppers were taken to a nearby clothing store to be interviewed by police. The restaurant and Walmart remain closed as detectives processed evidence. McCahill, I'm saying that wrong. McMahill said the investigation is very complex and because it involved more than 1,000 witnesses. Okay, well, there's all the witnesses. It doesn't matter because the 2 are dead now, so there's not like it's going to be a trial or anything. Walmart expressed its condolences in a statement that the company is working with police on the investigation. CC's Pizza said in a statement the company is deeply saddened by the shooting and would keep its location closed until further notice. Sunday's killing came less than a year after Las Vegas Police Department's most recent on-duty death. Officer David Van Brueserick died while rescuing a stranded hiker by helicopter on July 22nd, 2013. The department has lost officers over the past decade in vehicle accidents and an off-duty shooting, but most recently, on-duty shooting happened in February 1st, 2006, when Henry Prendez was ambushed during a domestic violence call. Okay, so that's it for that. That's just the surface.
The pre-story, like.
The pre-story, yeah, you're right. It's the pre-story to all the bunk added afterwards. The bunk added afterwards is what I kind of wanted to focus on here. It says, and this is where it gets real sketchy, people. Report. Swastikas found in the apartment of Las Vegas cop killers. A man and a woman who shot 2 police officers and then a civilian in Las Vegas on Sunday may have been white supremacists, according to the Las Vegas newspapers. The Las Vegas Sun quoted neighbors at the couple's apartment complex saying that the two had a reputation for spouting racist, anti-government views, bragging about their gun collection, and boasting that they'd spent time at Clive and Bundy's ranch during a recent standoff between armed militia members and federal government agents. That is bullshit. I can almost say unequivocally that that's bullshit.
Well, they were there, because I was there when they made them leave.
Huh?
They were at the Bundy Ranch, but I was there when they made them leave.
Who?
These 2 people.
How do you know it was them?
Because I remember the names when they try, and I've seen them. They look the same. And when they asked them to leave, they asked them to leave the second day we were there, because they
really?
Yeah, they said that they knew that they were doing drugs and that they were causing trouble and that they weren't there for the purpose that everyone was there for, and they made them leave.
Wow.
Security did. The militia came down and made them leave. In fact, Lance knew about it too. I mean, Vince knew about it too, because the security talked to Vince about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys are positive that these are the 2 that did that?
That were there causing trouble? Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
I didn't talk to them or nothing, but yeah, I seen them around while I was there.
And so, because they did publish a picture of these 2, and so they were the same people, huh? Mm-hmm. And you wow, so there you go.
I seen them, I didn't talk to them, but there was a lot of people there. But yeah, they were the ones they told to leave.
Now, did they have their faces painted? Like in the photograph that they
No, not at the ranch when I seen them.
Oh, okay.
They weren't wearing paint and stuff. They were just dressed like people. If I remember right, no, they were just dressed normal. They weren't in camos or nothing. But they were trying to start trouble, and they weren't there for the reason we were all there for.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Because this could be a well, all right. Let me keep going before I start the suppositions. That's interesting that you saw them. That's quite interesting. This is why I wanted to talk about this today. Okay. Let's see. This reads more like a SPLC article than anything else. All right, so the Las Vegas Review-Journal reported the police found swastika symbols in the apartment. If the 2 were involved with neo-Nazi or white supremacist groups, the Vegas slings would be one of several linked to the hate movements, of course. Among recent killings, blah, 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 former KKK Grand Dragon killed 3 at 2 Jewish facilities in Kansas City suburb. In April, a man killed 6 before killing himself at Sikh Temple, blah, 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 blah. That's SPLC crap. Man killed 3 officers in Pittsburgh, whatever. The tragedy in Las Vegas unfolded Sunday afternoon as 2 police officers ate lunch at CC's Pizza, a world away from the glitz and glamour of the Vegas Strip. Without warning, they were fatally shot at point-blank range by a man and a woman who then, here we go, swiped the officers' weapons, ammunition, and badges, according to the Review-Journal. "This is a revolution," one of the suspects shouted, according to the witnesses. Now, here we go, pointing out more inconsistencies between each of these news reports. The last report I just read said that one of the officers was able to discharge a round from his weapon. Now this says that they shot the 2 and then swiped the officers' weapons and ammo and badges. So which one is right here? You know what I mean? It's bullshit. All these inconsistencies, it's just glaring. So, okay, let me keep going. The couple then reportedly, okay, here we go, guys. This is the one that I do not believe at all. I think this was thrown in there as another stick in the hornet's nest of cops and getting them to hate patriots. Here we go. The couple then, after they swiped the ammo and the badges and screamed, "This is a revolution," the couple then reportedly covered the officers' bodies with a cloth showing a Revolutionary War era flag. The newspaper reported it was the Gadsden flag, the yellow background with a coiled snake with above the words, "Don't tread on me." Named for Christopher Gadsden, the Revolutionary War general who designs it. The Gadsden flag has more recently associated with the American Tea Party movement and, by some, with the Confederacy. So, okay.
They're getting them all in there. I mean, they're making sure to get all of it in there.
Anybody who's got the Gadsden flag is now going to be a cop killer, and watch out, cops, because your body's going to be draped with this flag once you come on.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, it's bullshit. This is such bullshit. I can't even freaking believe how much bullshit is going on in these news articles. It blows my freaking mind. I can't even deal with it.
And people were just and now people were starting to listen. People were waking up. And this is exactly what the Oklahoma bombing did. Then it just shuts them off again.
Right. And it's the same thing that 9/11 did. And it's the same thing with Waco. And it's the same damn thing. They've got to demonize the Tea Partiers. They've got to demonize the sovereign citizens. They've got to demonize people who are against the Federal Reserve. They've got to group us all into this thing, and if you're against if you're anti-government in any way, then you're going to go out and shoot cops and drape their bodies with a Gadsden flag. It's bullshit.
It's fear mongering.
It's worse than that. It's setting up a civil war in this country.
And police will be able to kill more of us.
Well, cops are going to be afraid of everything. When somebody flies that Gadsden flag now, that's going to be associated with cop killing. Okay, let me continue to read this here. Because I've got more connections to make. And actually a connection directly to Man, it's just ridiculous. This pisses me off so bad. Let's see. The cops were ambushed, Gillespie said, and did not provide any information about the shooter's motive. "My officers were simply having lunch when the shooting started. The shooters, who have not been named, then fled to a Walmart where they killed a third person. Police responded, exchanging fire with the shooters. During the shootout, the female suspect killed the male suspect and then turned the gun on herself. And then they had to be seen at the Bundy Ranch to further demonize what they were going to do here a couple months down the road. There's definite connections to this, people, so hang on to your seats. The Walmart patron who was killed has not been publicly identified, although still sketchy. The details have emerged about the shooters. On Saturday night, investigators searched the married couple's apartment just 4 miles from the scene of the shooting. Police allegedly found swastika symbols and are looking into their links to the white supremacy movement. Journal Review reported neighbor Krista Koch described him as militant. They talked about planning to kill police officers, really, going underground and not coming out until the time was right to kill. Brandon Moore, 22, has lived in the complex for about 2 weeks. He said the man who lived in the apartment that was being searched often rambled about conspiracy theories. He often wore camouflage, or, here we go, guys. This is a really important next sentence right here. He often wore camouflage or dressed as Peter Pan as a street performer. The woman lived with him, Monroe said, but didn't see her as often. So, the guy dressed in camo, or he dresses as Peter Pan. So, whoa, man. So, in other words, people who are dressing in camo are crazy freaking cross-dressing Peter Pan dressers too, right? This is all of these little tiny seeds that are placed into the minds of like subjects, people who are easily swayed in their opinions, we'll say, will, they'll see somebody dressed in camo and like have a Peter Pan connotation to that guy dressed in camo, and they're instantly going to think, oh my God, that guy's a nutbag, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole thing is, they were weird, Monroe said, adding that the couple used methamphetamines, okay? The neighbors did not know the couple's names. So they were tweakers on top of all this. The killings come less than a year after the police department's most recent death. Okay, I'm not going to read that whole thing again. So there's that. Let me go on to this one, because it's a short one. Vegas shooters reportedly left a manifesto, claimed connection to the Bundy Ranch. Okay. More details are emerging as the possible motivation of the two suspects shot and killed a pair of Las Vegas police officers Sunday before taking their own lives. After witnesses testified yesterday, the suspects yelled, "This is a revolution," before firing. A manifesto was reportedly discovered at the scene. Of course, they always are. While unconfirmed reports said the two laid a "Don't Tread on Me" flag over the bodies of one of the officers. Authorities have not released any details on the manifesto. According to the neighbors, the couple, whose names have not been released, were prone to spouting anti-government, anti-law enforcement, white supremacist rhetoric, and boasting...
And also later they say, and on top of the flag was thrown a swastika.
Oh, so a swastika was thrown in now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit. You might as well put a little cherry on top there, too, and put whipped cream on top. I mean, what the hell? Yeah. How much more crap can they add onto this?
I don't know. It will be surprising to follow.
It's bullshit. This is all bullshit. One resident of their apartment complex said they had plans for a mass shooting. They were handing out white power propaganda, and were talking about doing the next Columbine, the neighbors said. Neighbors also reported that the two bragged of time spent at the Clive and Bundy Ranch, a site of the heavily armed standoff with BLM. Clive and Bundy's wife denied any connection. All right, so... that is, the vast claims of all those reports that I just read seem to go in a succession. You had the first one from the Fox News that just gave the facts, right? And then the next one, there was time to add more, add more details. And then the third one, there was more details added. And of course, it's all anti-patriot, anti-sovereign citizen, KKK, and all that. I mean,
And they repeat the whole story plus the add-on. And then they repeat the whole story plus the add-on again.
Right, then they add a little more detail again. This whole thing is completely designed to get cops fearful of patriots. And these two, I would almost like to venture out on a limb here and say mind control victims.
That's what I was thinking too. And someone in chat also mentioned earlier MK Ultra.
Absolutely, MK Ultra. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and the way she shot him, now they're saying that he laid down on the ground and she shot him and then shot herself in the head.
Yeah, see all these things. So here, I'll read the one you just posted because I know it sounds like I'm rehashing this crap. I am, but what I'm trying to do here is show how the facts become twisted and wrung into a giant fantasy of whatever the hell they want to paint.
Right, so, and has it come into your mind? I mean, I'm wondering because I haven't read or heard anywhere. But did anyone witness them commit suicide? Because by then, people were out of the store, and it was law enforcement and them at the back of the store. But I haven't heard anyone, or that anyone seen her shoot him and then shoot herself. That to me is curious.
Yeah, that's the storyline, though.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the shooters always have to end up dead.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't give their side. Okay. I don't know. There's on the article that you posted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on just a second. On the article that you just posted, there is a picture of them out in the country on a road.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that the couple that you saw? Did they?
Well, I can't tell by that picture, but there was another picture of them close up. Because I only seen them once, and it was on the day they kicked them out.
Okay.
But that was them.
Interesting. It's just this whole thing seems like it wasn't necessarily staged because obviously there's 2 dead police officers, right?
Hey, well, they don't care who they kill.
Right.
Whatever it takes to get fear into everyone and get, more division between everyone.
Right. Okay, so let me read the latest update here. Las Vegas, 2 suspects accused of ambushing and shooting 2 police officers while they ate lunch on Sunday were known to have strong anti-government, anti-police views. Holy shit. So, now, here we go. If you have anti-police views, then you could be a domestic terrorist.
I'm in trouble.
See? There you go. During a news conference, Sheriff Doug Gillespie identified the man and woman as Jared Miller, 31, and his wife Amanda Miller, 22. Both recently moved to Las Vegas from Indiana. Gillespie started a Monday news conference applauding those who responded to the shooting scene. To my agency, I'm proud of your focus over the last 24 hours. It was extraordinary, Gillespie said. You showed no fear in entering a building. Okay, so you're right. The cops were in there with them. You showed no fear of entering a building, knowing suspects, knowing shots were fired, and knowing your 2 brothers have been shot. Okay, so they did enter the Walmart building. He also acknowledged the citizen who was shot after he attempted to confront one of the shooters. To the family of Joseph Wilcox, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department says their deepest condolences. He died trying to protect others. His death is completely senseless, Sheriff Gillespie said. During the news conference, Metro laid out how the shooting started. The 2 suspects. Okay, here we go. This is the latest version, people, of this story. And let me just... Oh, I see. There's the close-up pictures of them. God, they look like scumbags, dude. Okay. And this story was from yesterday, so I'm sure there's more to it than even that. Yeah, those two look like total scumbags. No wonder they were kicked out.
Judging by looks, naughty girl.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to judge on looks and put a wall up.
Yeah.
I tend to put a wall up with
and
everybody
that's just
I
what
hate.
people do towards us.
Right.
They, same thing. So go ahead.
All right. Two suspects walked. All right, here we go. Two suspects walked past the booth in a CC's Pizza on North Nellis Boulevard, where officers Aylin Beck, 41, and Igor Salado, 31, were eating lunch around 11:20 a.m. Sunday. Jared Miller pulled out a handgun and shot Officer Salado in the back of the head. When Officer Beck began to react, he was shot in the throat, said Assistant Sheriff Kevin McMahill. Amanda Miller then removes a handgun from her purse and shot both Jared and Amanda. Wait a minute. Amanda Miller then removes a handgun from her purse, and both Jared and Amanda Miller fire multiple shots into Officer Beck, he added. The bodies of the officer were pulled out of the booth by the suspects. McMahill said a Gadsden flag, which shows a coiled snake on a yellow background, and a swastika symbol was placed on Beck's body. There was also a note placed on Salado's body which read, "This is the beginning of the revolution." Jared Miller was also heard by witnesses in the restaurant making a similar statement. Okay, so there we go, witnesses in the restaurant. We don't believe they are a white supremacist. They are white supremacists or associated with the Nazi movement. They believe law enforcement is the oppressor, McMahill said. The two suspects made their way to the Walmart, where Jared Miller, 31, fired a shot when he entered the front doors. He told people to get out and yelled, "This is a revolution," McMahill said. Wilcox, who had a permit to carry a concealed weapon, was in the store and told a friend he was going to confront Jared Miller. What Wilcox did not know is that Amanda Miller was behind him. She shot him in the ribs before he could fire any shots. McMahill discussed how the police formed two teams and entered the Walmart store through the front and rear entrances. Police did exchange gunfire with the suspects who were in the rear of the store and had used store items to form a defensive position. Amanda Miller suffered a gunshot wound. McMahill said Jared Miller laid on the floor in front of Amanda Miller, where she fired several shots into him. Then she shot herself in the head. Police did find numerous rounds of ammunition in one of the backpacks carried by the suspects. At this time, we believe this is an isolated act, said McMahill. There is no doubt the suspects have had some apparent ideology that is along the lines of militia white supremacist. Okay, so there you go right there. Police also talked about the Millers being at the recent standoff between police and militia members at the Clive and Bundy Ranch. Jared Miller had a Google Plus account where he talked about being at the Bundy Ranch when protesters showed up in force to protest the government's attempt to reclaim land Bundy was using for illegal grazing. Miller was upset because he had been shunned by other protesters. Okay, I was wondering if they were going to mention that. He said, this Jared Miller saying this. I was out there, but they told me and my wife to leave because I am a felon. They don't seem to understand that they are all felons now for intimidating law enforcement with deadly weapons. So don't So don't tell you that they need people. What? So don't tell you that. So don't. This is what it says. So don't tell you that they need people. We sold everything we had to buy supplies and quit our jobs to be there 24/7. How dare you ask for help and then shun us, dedicated patriots? Jeez, this is. I don't know, you guys. This is sketchy as hell right here. I'm telling you.
He wasn't told to leave because he was a felon. It was because they were doing drugs and trying to cause trouble.
See? There you go, man. That's the real story right there. We just heard the real story. They were asked to leave because they were dicking around, being idiots, and doing drugs. So, and how in the hell are these guys at the Bundy Ranch going to know this guy? Look, here comes a felon. Let's tell him to leave. What?
Right. You know, I mean, there was nobody stopping anyone from going there, but they did a pretty good job of weeding out troublemakers and quickly.
Well, see, that's what in any situation, that's exactly what needs to be done. You want to get rid of the morons starting trouble, because everybody knows all the morons that want to start trouble are usually feds.
Mm-hmm. And they'll get you killed, really.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Ammon Bundy, son, Amon, how do you pronounce that? Amon Bundy, son of rancher Cliven Bundy, tells the Associated Press that Jared and Amanda Miller were asked to leave his father's ranch after being there a few days this spring. Amon Bundy says that while details are still sketchy, the Millers' conduct was the problem. Just like you just said, he called the couple very radical and says they didn't align themselves with the protesters' main issues. And this is why I really think that this whole thing was just like a mind control thing. They were told to leave by members of the militia that had also come to Bundy Ranch, the ranch in support of Bundy. Jared Miller also had 2 tearful videos on YouTube. He talked about the New World Order and how they wish they could wake up their families. Oh my God. Assistant Sheriff Joe Lombardo said, although they believe the attack was an isolated incident, Metro is now operating under, quote, emergency mobilization, unquote, which means they are double the normal amount of officers patrolling the streets. On a normal day, there would be 150 officers working. Currently, there are 300.
And probably trigger happy.
And here's the key words to the whole article. That will continue indefinitely, Lombardo said. So that last line, that will continue indefinitely. So now they've suddenly upped it from 150 officers working to 300. And this is the things that absolutely escalate the police state.
Yep, and now they'll need stronger more powerful weapons, and they'll need armored vehicles, and you know.
Yes. Absolutely.
And cops are going to be on edge. They're going to think everyone's out to kill them, just like what happened down in Torrance when those cops, shot up that blue truck when they were looking for a gray car with Donner. You know, that's what they're doing. They're putting them on edge.
Absolutely. And of course they have to have ties with the Bundy Ranch because they've got to further demonize all those at the Bundy Ranch.
And the Tea Party with the flag.
Tea Party and Patriots and the militia and the white supremacists.
Anti-government.
Anti-government views, anti-police views. All of that is there we go. We've got the precedents. The precedents was set a long time ago, but they keep ramping this shit up.
And people who live by the mainstream media are taking this all in and believing every bit of it.
Every single bit of it. Nobody is aware of how to decipher these things like we do here.
You know how to see how it's being taken in by where you live? Go to your letters to the editor in your local paper and read there, and you'll see how much they are believing it.
Yeah.
In your area.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had to yawn. Yeah, this is dangerous. This is terribly dangerous.
Well, it's like the IMAC report when that came out. About if people have the Ron Paul bumper sticker, if they have a Constitution in a pocket Constitution, they are to be approached with caution. Remember when that came out?
Oh yes,
Same thing.
It was. It wasn't iMac. It was. Oh God.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah. Yep.
The call letters were.
It's their memo that goes out to law enforcement.
Right.
It's the way they keep in touch, and it's IMAC, and that went out to all law enforcement. And yeah, and that puts the cops on edge, and that's another reason why you're seeing more killings, because cops think that everybody's out to kill them.
Yeah, I've gotta find that. It's damn it, that's not exactly what it was called. I don't think.
Here, I'll find it for you. But yeah, it was, because I remember when it came out, and it's IMAC.
IMAC. Yeah, you're right. IMAC. Here, wait. IMAC. Oh shit. Yeah, you're right.
Well, yeah, I know, because I followed that story.
Well, believe me, I know, because damn it, they're not. It's not coming up. IMAC. IMACC, I think. Shit. I definitely know about that report because the Hutari patch was sponsored in that report. Oh, I think I just... Yeah, I did. I just need to know what it's called, for real. Shit, and I just took the chat room out, so I gotta go back here. But yeah.
It says here, IMAC report, Arena Commander, RSI Community forms a series of top-tier IMACs who are wondering if they can take the Star Citizen plunge in. This is just different IMAC reports that come out. And IMAC. But, and it's also like the IMAC computer, so it makes it hard to get through to it. Let me see if I can find the better one.
What's the,
I put in IMAC report.
It's all IMAC crap.
I know, it's all like, you have to get past all that. Let me think. How else you can find it? If I have it on my other computer, because when it came out,
yeah,
I download everything. But I'll find it later and post it to you. And
I just wanna know what those acronyms stand for.
Let's see. That. Let me see.
Shit.
Let me go here.
I can't remember, and I should know this like by heart, and usually I do, but here I am on air, and that's when I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, if you look through that, I think it's something different. I don't think it's IMAC. I think it's something different. If anybody in the chat room knows, come on, guys. I know you know who's got the Cupid doll out there. Anyways, yeah, like if you look at that report, one of the first things you see is the Gadsden flag is to be in Ron Paul bumper stickers and the Hutari patch. When we first saw that, the Hutari patch, we kind of laughed and we were like, wow, okay, we're on the radar. Little did we know that they were investigating us at that time. And here's the other thing too, and this is what I wanted to bring up, so I'm kind of glad you brought that up, Zori, that the Hutari militia members were accused. This is what the big premise behind the Hutari indictments were that this is like the fantasy that was made up by the federal government and it was proven false in court, that in fact it was a fantasy of the federal government that that militia members were planning on luring cops to a field and then shooting them, and then they were going to, and then at the cops' funerals, they were going to lay down IEDs at the funeral and kill up more cops, and that was all a figment of the government's imagination, which was proven just that in court, a figment of the government's imagination. And what that did was it laid what the MIAC report, it was MIAC, MIACC, I think. And
there you are. Yes, it was.
the MIAC report. That's what it is. MIACC. Yeah, that's it. Yes. And there we are. MIAC report. Okay. So here we go. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, basically, so what that did was it set the precedence for law enforcement to become scared or wary of militia members or
Ron Paul followers,
or Gadsden flag followers now, or Gadsden flag wavers, and all of that, and really that MIAC report was like the start of that.
Mm-hmm.
And well, really, actually, I can't say that. Let me backtrack. Oklahoma City was the start of that whole thing.
Well, yeah, because the militias were getting very large, and people were joining like crazy, and then Oklahoma happened, and man, when membership just dropped off.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted.
Right, they got what they wanted, and it's the same thing, same stuff here, and literally, that plot never existed in the Hutari militia.
No, none of it, I don't think.
No, it didn't. I mean, those guys may have been sitting around, eating hot dogs and stuff and joking about, like, some off,
well, they did it
shit, but that did not constitute a plot to kill officers. They were just yakking and laughing.
Yeah, and then it's like Waco woke up a lot of people. So they did the Oklahoma on the anniversary. So, and then, said it was because of Waco. And what happened? Everybody dropped out because then they thought they were all betrayed and lied to. And, this stuff, if you just connect the dots, you can see it as well planned as a vacation trip. You can just go follow those dots.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And these dots are all being connected, and here we are now with these two Vegas shooters draping a Gadsden flag over police officers. I, for one, absolutely do not advocate shooting cops.
No.
Just arbitrarily running around shooting cops. That's just insane.
Or killing anyone for no reason.
Killing anyone for no reason, for that matter. Absolutely. It's bullshit. And these people, I don't know, I have a feeling that they, like I said, I'm going out on a limb. I'm calling freaking MK Ultra mind control people, that they were mind controlled, and I don't know if we're going to hear that either one of them were on antidepressants or any of that, because all their little rhetoric, like, oh, we're having trouble waking our families up, and the New World Order is coming to get us. All of these things, it just seems like it's just conveniently inserted into the plot of this husband and wife team. You know what I mean?
I just came across something when I was looking for that MIAC report, and it said here, coincidence, Las Vegas shooter Jared Miller interviewed by NBC News during Bundy standoff.
Oh, really now? Hey, read that.
But it's a clip, and I can't play it.
Shit.
And it's InfoWars, but I mean, they are just showing the NBC News clip here. So I'll put that in chat.
That's huge. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Now, see, that even makes it even more so that this was not, that it was staged, not in the sense that it didn't happen staged in the sense that it was set up deliberately, kind of staged. That's what I mean by that. This whole thing was set up deliberately, and those two were obviously being used as tools or pawns in this act.
In this setup. To really demonize people.
Any patriots that I know that I have ever met, any militia members that I know and that I have ever met, everybody in this scene that I've ever met would never go and do this kind of crap. Just out of the blue, like pull a wild hair out of their butts and go and kill a couple of cops while they were eating lunch. No freaking way would that ever happen, because people that I know, that I have met, and I've met a lot of people in this movement now, people, believe me, I've gone through a lot. You know, I went through that whole Hutari trial, blah, 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 and no one that I've ever met would even have an inkling about doing this kind of crap. Everybody wants peace. They want all the criminality to stop up in the upper echelons, and that's all that we're ever asking for, is for the color of the word of law to be followed by our own government. But nobody is going to go, nobody has ever talked offensively before. No one, you know what I mean? There's jokes that I hear all the time, but that's just joking, right? So I don't know. But
it can be used as conspiracy.
It can be used against you. Yeah, you know, we say all kinds of shit in the chat room all the time, but, you know, and then what? Are they going to go and comb all of our chats? Yes. And use it against us? Yes. That's what happened at the Hutari trial. They put, you know, I guess it was Yahoo Instant Messenger chats up there, and they used that in the actual court as an exhibit against these guys. So, wow, are they saying dead air? Somebody said dead air. Apparently it's okay. I like to say hi to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Sorry that I spent the entire 2 freaking hours on this, but I think it was worthwhile to go over those articles and point out the inconsistencies and how the story changes. Because this is exactly how these things, how the mainstream media operates in terms of mind control and how they shape people's opinion about everything. So now, like in Las Vegas, when someone waves a Gadsden flag, everybody's going to freak the hell out now. You know what I mean? This is what they do. This is how they...
Especially law enforcement.
Exactly. And this is what they want. They want that instant muscle reaction of, holy shit, there's a terrorist there. He's got the Gadsden flag. Look, he's wearing a shirt.
And they'll be calling police, going, oh, I see someone carrying that flag in here at the park. I think you should come quick.
Or there's a guy wearing a Gadsden flag t-shirt. Oh my God, he's a terrorist. And this is the precedence that's being set. The mind control of the masses that's being manipulated in this fashion. And this is dangerous. This is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And all they're doing is escalating it. So this man and woman, husband and wife team were used as complete tools to further this agenda. So anybody who runs around, you know, waving the flag or talking that they're going to start killing cops, blah 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 blah, I'd be willing to bet, if these people had some kind of connection to the FBI in some way, shape, or form, that's going to come out in the future. I'm not willing to stake my life on it, but I can almost bet that they've had some kind of government, some kind of connections with the government themselves. So, I mean, I don't know that for sure. I'm just taking a stab in the dark on that one.
But the coincidence, they didn't interview that many people out there. They did a few, but I mean, it's just weird that they picked them.
They picked them, yeah, out of all the people that were out there, right. And they were only there for 2 days or something?
Just a few days from what I hear.
Right, so they weren't even there that long. And, they picked these two out of all those other, yeah. Something is smelling like crap in Denmark, people. So I'm kind of glad we went over this today. I actually didn't mean to spend the whole 2 damn hours on it, but it just...
Well, it's okay. I mean, these things need to be brought out to people that are just waking up and for people to be aware that, be cautious out there.
Yeah, you gotta be aware. Exactly.
That's what they want.
Yeah, you gotta be aware of what your surroundings, you got to be aware of what you're saying now, or else the little things that you might say can and will be used against you. And
some snitch or somebody, some good citizen, to call in to the police going, I think we might have a shooter or somebody who's going to shoot somebody here because they're talking against police and the government.
Right, absolutely. So the whole precedence of pre-crime, like the Minority Report, is being set here.
See something, say something.
Right, and this is where it's going, people. If we don't stop this crap now, they're gonna get their way. They're gonna absolutely get their way with this whole thing, and they're gonna start coming after good, innocent people. And
beware of what you say. When you're talking about who you're talking about, it's not worth dying for. But be careful of your wording, because you know what? This is going out all across the country, and this is brainwashing these people that are in the supermarket buying the groceries and the line behind you, and they're listening to what you're saying to someone about, the New World Order or the government and.
Right.
They could call cops. Next thing you know, you might be faced with a bunch of guns at your head.
Right, for talking about the New World Order, exactly.
And that's terrible, because you can't stop. We can't stop waking people up, but yet there's a real. They're putting a real danger there.
Yeah, they're setting the precedents to paint us all with a broad brush. All right, well, that's where we got to leave it today, because.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, we're totally out of time now, and so I can only hope that people use their brains out there and go with this in a peaceful way and be careful about everything they do now. So up next we've got Post Ignorance with Kevin Blanche. I love Kevin. He rocks. And then after that, we've got The Edge with John. Well, there's a replay with Libby Halevi after him. And then On the Edge with John Stokes is on at 1. And then Jack Blood comes on at 3 o'clock. I believe he's going to be live today with an interesting guest from what he was saying. And then at 6 o'clock, guys, is Chuck Ocelli with the Ocelli Effect. Don't miss that. We've got Tuesday night. Tuesday night's a real awesome night here on UCY.TV. At 8 o'clock is the Continual Condition with Jonathan and Steven. And at 9, this the Canary Chronicles with Dinah. That's a replay. And then at 10, guys, Primer Time with Dan and Michael. And then at 11 is Prepper Chicks After Dark, where she plays Conflicted on air. So have a great Tuesday. Jules will be here tomorrow with you guys on Wednesday. And everybody have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.